Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is David, this is David K Reacts, and this is my 2000 subscriber special video. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do for this one. I toyed with doing a reaction to one of the groups that I cover and then realised that kind of services one fan base over another, and of course I'm catering to several here. And so I'm doing something completely different, and hopefully folks are interested in this. I wanted to look at something musical that was unusual, and the timing of my 2000 subscribers was perfect, because at the time of recording, 6 days ago, a video game called Stray Gods: The Role-Playing Musical was released, and this should be impossible. And what I mean by that is this is a full musical with a dozen songs at least. I'm unsure. I haven't quite finished a first playthrough yet because work is insanely busy, and so I haven't had a day where I can sit and really charge through it. I think I'm most of the way through it at this point. But there are so many songs in this. It is a full musical production. But you, the player, can change the song on the fly in the middle of the song. This should not work. And it works beautifully. I actually met the musical director and one of the composers of Stray Gods, Austin Wintory, when I went to the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco back in, it was March, I think. And I went to a talk that he gave on this, and it melted my brain. That's all I can really say. The logic that goes into what he did to make this a possibility is unbelievable. Because what happens is, as you play through this game, you get to a song, and your character can have one of three traits. They can be clever, they can be charming, or they can be kick-ass. And those dictate whether you have intelligent, sort of insightful responses, ones that are more emotionally based and are a little bit more kind of appealing to people's emotions and love and care, and you're charismatic, or if you're a badass who can also get a little bit aggressive if it's necessary. And at certain points during a song you can choose one of these responses, and sometimes that means picking a side in an argument, but more often than not it means picking a particular response to a question. And not only do the lyrics of that song change when you make that decision, the instrumentation, the melody, the rhythm, the whole lot shifts. It's mind-blowing. And not only that, but later in the song, you could make a decision that is partially informed by a decision you made previously. So you might decide to be charming, but earlier on in the song you were kick-ass, and some of the kick-ass elements will then feed into your charming response. So you might get those distorted guitars that came in earlier, even though you've actually got this kind of slightly more sort of emotionally geared clarinet music or something like that. I'm pulling instruments out of my head. I don't have a good example in front of me. So I wanted to look at this because I thought that A, this is wacky for my channel, B, this is an astonishing feat of music. I couldn't find, I had a quick look online, I should maybe, oh you know what, there's credits in the game, aren't there? I want to find the credits for the incredible composers who were in this. Obviously Austin is one of them, but I know from the GDC talk that he had several bands and individuals helping him, and I just want to find those and credit them because the astonishing work that went into this. Songs were co-written by Austin Wintory, Simon Hall, Stephen Gates, Montaigne, and Scott Edgar. So those 5 individuals were all a part of this, and I have to credit them with an astonishing amount of work. There's also a bunch of soloists who perform on this, far too many to mention in the course of a video like this when mine already tend to run long. A bunch of vocals, a bunch of this, a bunch of that. There are so many people, and there have to be, to make this possible. This is by Summerfall Studios. They're an Australian game studio, and congrats to everybody involved in this from there. I do just want to mention a few names. Austin, of course, as MD and one of the composers. David Gader, who directed this. To those who know video games, he started out working on games like Baldur's Gate 2 and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So there's a serious pedigree going on there. I do want to throw out, and you'll see this, and I'm mentioning it particularly now, and forgive me for the pronunciation of this name, Benjamin E. or it's EE, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, who is the art director. The art style in this game is stunning. I loved it since I saw it. And then the vocal direction, I believe, was Troy Baker, who will be well known to many people. He's the voice of 100 video games and an extremely good voice actor. He's in this as well. I do want to... the cast includes a stellar group of people. Ashley Johnson's in it, Felicia Day's in it, Anthony Rapp, which will surprise nobody, I think, who, he's a Broadway singer. It makes sense he'd do this, but he's also on Star Trek Discovery, and is obviously well in the nerd zeitgeist as a performer, but also in the musical theatre zeitgeist as a performer, so that's not surprising. But I do want to mention 3 people in particular, because they are the 3 people that we are going to hear from during the course of this video. Laura Bailey, who plays the part of Grace, the protagonist in this game. She was Jaina Proudmoore in World of Warcraft, Ensign Rodriguez in Mass Effect, Abby in The Last of Us Part 2. She's got a part in the TV series, I believe. I still haven't seen it. Oh, goodness, my notifications again. And yes, I am very well aware that I must see The Last of Us, the TV series. I will get to it. She's also on Critical Role. Janina Gavankar is Allison in The Morning Show. She plays Tatai in the video game Horizon Zero Dawn. I think I have that pronunciation correct. She was Luna Garza in True Blood. She plays Freddy, who is Grace's best friend. And the third character we hear from in this is Pan, who is played by Khary Peyton, who is Ezekiel Sutton in The Walking Dead, plays Cyborg in Teen Titans Go, and actually, not in the original movie, but ever since then, has played the part of Wasabi in Big Hero 6. So in all the sort of spin-off material that has come from there. These are 3 very talented voice actors and very talented singers, and I'm excited to show you what they have to offer. This is not going to be a regular video, I do want to make that point, and I am going to get started soon too, but I needed to have all that set up because of how cool everything you're about to hear is. What I would normally do on my channel, if you've never seen it before, is react to a piece of music, or a video or something, and I'm maybe some other things coming down the line, and then I would analyze that based on the reaction. So knowing what's coming, I can then make comments about what I'm seeing. I go back and pause the video and all that kind of thing. That's not going to happen today. Future David coming in here because I forgot to say my usual introduction. So welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. As I've said already, this is not a typical video for me, so I won't do my usual spiel, but I will say, if you like this video, please do hit the like button down below. Do subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can decide how often you are notified when I go live, or when one of my videos goes live. Usually 5 PM EST on a Friday. This is a bonus video, so it's going out at some point, don't know when, as I record this. And if you'd like to, please do head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, where you can donate to support the channel if you would care to do so. And I would be very grateful, but there is no pressure to do that. Right, that's everything. Back to the video. What I'm going to do instead is showcase some of the marvel that is the music in Stray Gods, and I'm going to do that by looking at the first song you come across in the game that has significant choices. To that end, spoiler alert. Not a big one, because this happens very early in the game, about 20 minutes in, I think, but it is going to give some stuff away. The very brief setup of what has happened here: your character, Grace, is in a band. They're auditioning for somebody else to come in, and everybody else has gone home and she's a bit depressed because the auditions haven't gone very well. And a woman comes in who sings with her and sort of finishes this beautiful song. Grace doesn't really even know where the music came from, and the woman disappears into the night. Grace goes home, and shortly afterwards, this same woman comes in and collapses into her arms, dead. She's been killed. Oh, the woman's name was Calliope, incidentally, which if you know your Greek mythology, Calliope is one of the muses. She's lying dead in Grace's arms. Grace doesn't know what's happened. Hermes comes in and says, the chorus needs to see you. Chorus, incidentally, was the original name of the game before they changed it to Stray Gods. And Grace is obviously confused, gets taken to meet the chorus, which consists of Athena, Apollo, Persephone, and Aphrodite. And they say, sorry, we think you killed a muse. If you didn't, you at least usurped them and stole their power. Oh, right, sorry. Things I didn't mention. You get Calliope's powers. Grace gets her powers. You have to die. That is our rule. And Grace says, hang on a minute, that's not very fair. Apollo actually agrees with her out of the blue and says, actually, no, this isn't justice. Grace, deserves a chance. And Athena says, okay, you've got a week to prove you're innocent. And if you don't manage that, then our judgment stands. Grace goes home, and she's just sort of trying to come up with something to tell Freddy about what happened, because she's not really supposed to talk about now being a god. And in comes Pan. Pan, Greek god of mischief, comes in and starts talking to her and offers to help, and does that through song. That is where we pick this up, and I just want to show off some of the variety that this game has. So I've saved a new... this isn't the game I'm actually playing. I've saved a new game right at the beginning of Pan's song. I'm going to just push you through it once, pretty much the same way I went through it when I originally played it, which is clever the whole way through. You'll hear the song, and then we're going to go back and look at it again. So, I'm going to bring up the sound, bring up the volume, and we're going to continue this game. So this is Pan's song. The LOI is a Grace triggering her power.
Grace, you know that you're lost now. You've been given powers you don't understand. I'm the guy who can help you. All that you hear is at your command.
Wait.
No, it's okay, Freddy. This is all me? What do I do?
Start singing.
Now?
So I'm going to go clever, which is the blue option. I'm going to try and roll with it. This is all in her apartment, by the way. She's sort of conjured up this thing as part of her power.
How the hell did you find me? This is the weirdest night I've ever had. And you say I have powers? How could this possibly turn out bad? Am I doing it now? I don't follow. Are those really actual horns? And this singing is so hard to swallow. Can you hear me, Grace? What's going on?
So you can hear this brush drum kit, really jazzy clarinet.
Is clear. What is this creep concealing? How does he know you and why is he here? Freddy, this map is uncharted. Let's hear him out. I know how you feel. Me, I'm just getting started. I wish you could feel this, it's kind of unreal. Grace, have you gone delirious? Stranger danger could not be more serious. You've been hurt before by mysterious men. I won't let you get hurt again.
So you can hear we sort of have these two melodies that we've been playing off.
Our place. Is he gonna stay? Freddy, I don't think I have any choice.
I know where you belong, Grace, the song, Grace.
But can you show me the way?
Yes.
Time to play. So
And now we get to choose who sort of sings this out. I'm going to go with this one.
it's okay, Freddy. I think I got this.
This isn't what I did originally, but...
Grace, who's it
Again,
gonna
not the choice
be,
I made
him
before.
or me?
Morning fades and we all waste away yesterday that may have been true.
I won't let him take you.
Now you're an idol and you're where you belong. Grace the song and it's undeniable the difference in you.
That doesn't mean I know what to do. Morning fades, then we all pull the shades, but I'm afraid, and I think you are too. Shreddy, nobody knows me like you. If you leave now, I'll follow you somehow.
This Freddy's a friend you can use.
I'm actually going to stop it there because I don't want to run the risk of the game. You can't go backwards in the game. So I'm going to stop it before it autosaves. I'm not quite sure if that's the end of the game. But you can see what happened there. There was a pretty solid through flow of how the music worked. The instrumentation was relatively consistent. You had the guitar coming in, but this sort of brush drum kit, the clarinets. That's all the sort of the feel of the intelligent, the clever path that you can choose to follow. I'm going to go back to the menu again, go continue, and we should, if all goes to plan, restart right at the beginning of the song. Good. This time, I'm going to go through, I'm going to select a couple of clever options, and then I'm going to start getting a little bit more aggressive so that we get a different style coming through. I'm going to stick mostly to clever, but I want to firstly show off how the two different styles can infiltrate each other a little bit, and then I'm going to go back and pick a completely different way of singing the song.
Grace, you know
So we're
that
familiar
you're
with this
lost
melody, we've seen it
now.
before. Excuse me.
You've been given powers you don't understand. I'm the guy who can help you. All that you hear is at your command.
Wait.
No, it's okay, Freddy. This is all me? What do I do?
Start singing.
Now?
So I'm going to try and roll with
Why
it once
not?
again.
Time's a wasting.
How the hell did you find me? This is the weirdest night I've ever had.
So you can also notice she's
And you
singing the
say I
same
have
melody
powers?
that he sang at the
How could
beginning.
this possibly turn out bad? Am I doing it now?
Brilliant.
I don't follow.
little girl.
Are those really actual
But I'm going to be a bit
horns?
aggressive
And
now.
this
I'm going to assert
singing
myself
is
a little.
so
Sounds like it's time to
hard
shine.
Can you hear me, Grace? What's going on?
Song.
So sorry you had to be here for this. I'm in the dark too as you're hearing this.
This is
Like
totally
I know
different.
that I'm in full control, 'cause the words and the tunes I feel here in my soul. If this is a power, I'm not overthinking it. If this was a drink, I'd be drinking it. But someone is dead and I'm
Totally different
losing my
melody.
head. Like the goat said, this is my time.
Now this is a melody you hear throughout the game at different points.
This is my time to shine. Grace, nothing makes sense here, and won't the carpet be covered in fleece? And you said someone died.
So I'm
here.
going with the clever
Shouldn't
option
we then
again.
just call the police? Freddy, this map is uncharted. Let's hear him out. I know how
And you see we've just
feel
shifted
with
right
me.
back to where we
I'm
were
just
before.
getting started. I wish you could feel this. It's kind of unreal. Grace, have you gone delirious? Stranger danger could not be more serious. You've been hurt before by mysterious
Gonna go aggressive
men.
again.
I won't let you get hurt again. There's a good chance I could throw the both of you out.
Now we're
Got no
completely
idea
different.
what all this is about,
And yet it
but
still
I feel
feels like it
an
runs
amateur
together.
wannabe. If this is a dream, then it's gonna be my time to shine. This is my time to shine.
Completely different artwork too. The amount of art assets in this is
What
huge.
happens next?
How
We're gonna
about
let them
a
sing again.
solo? Grace, are you sure about this?
Yes, a solo. Do it. We got time.
This section always feels a little jarring no matter what you do, I think.
What are you doing? That wasn't me. Will you stop screwing around?
And we're going to go aggressive again.
Grace,
So this is all familiar.
him or me? That's it. Shut up. This is a wreck. If I had 4 hands, I'd grab you both by the neck. This is my life and it's happening to me. If we can't work this out, it's just gonna be my time. Time to shine. Time for you to decide. My time. Time to shine. He's taking us both for a ride. Your time. I could go it alone. Time to shine.
Okay, and I'm going to stop again there. You see what happens, though? Like, there were so many bits in that we heard the last time we listened to this through, and then we go off on a totally different tangent to the one we went on the last time, and yet it still feels like a pretty cohesive song. The only point where you hit something that's really jarring is when you have that little a cappella bit between Freddie and Pan, which is meant to sound weird, because it is. Like, that point in the song, it's not quite so cohesive, and it never is. We're going to go back again. This time I'm going to play Charming the whole way through, and we'll hear yet again what a difference this can make. I actually haven't heard any of this yet.
Yes, you know that you're lost now. You've been given powers you don't understand. I'm the guy who can help you. All that you hear is at your command.
Wait.
No, it's okay, Freddie. This is all me? What do I do?
Start singing.
Now?
So we're going to go Charming.
Why not?
I might do a couple of different ones, but the aim is for go Charming.
Freddie, he's got me shaking.
Same melody,
I don't
but
know what
very
I'm
different
meant to
feel.
do. Something in me's awakened, but this goat guy thinks I'm some great ingenue. I'm doing it now, huh? I don't.
And now Freddie has the same thing.
Really actual
We're going to be a bit more suspicious of Pan this time. But note the animations were the same, but the song was fully different.
Going on? Lost girls, you all love your lost girls. A rescue that you can take home.
So the harp, I think, is part of the Charming part. Obviously still brush drums, but a very different vibe.
It's so titillating.
Grace, we gotta be careful. Has he slipped something into our drinks?
I'm gonna keep being a little more suspicious.
He could be dangerous. What do you think? Sing it, Freddie, I hear you. We've only just met, now he's my new best friend. Now I'll owe him a favor. And what will he want in the end?
You're lucky. I got to you. There's people out there who will come for you.
I'm going to be aggressive this time, just see what happens.
You're lost and I'm trying to help.
Lost girls, you all love your lost girls. A rescue that you
So this is totally different to an aggressive option we chose before. We're still being aggressive, but with the charming element.
Little stray is perfectly fine on her own.
Okay. What happens now then?
How about a solo?
Backing yourself.
You're sure about this?
Yeah, sure. Let's have a solo.
Love it.
Ooh, the heaviness of that piano.
I never knew I had that in me that said I'll never do that again.
Grace, you're starting to comprehend. Let me show you more, or show me the door.
Good idea. I just sang soprano.
The showing of the door part.
Body's
Let's go back to being
shivering,
charming again.
Blood is thickening, skin is shimmering. You guys are bickering.
I've never seen these two duet together. And never have I seen it come back to the apartment either. Because it's now grounded in more reality, the two mortal characters. Well, actually no, Grace is a god now, but...
Now you're just being silly. Maybe the muse isn't feeling the gravity. Or do you refuse and, like ostriches, happily stick your heads in the sand? Grace, I could be your right hand. Freddy, you better leave her alone. Let me do what I do or she'll sink like a stone.
Lost girl, I know I'm not a lost girl.
This is extraordinary how different these are.
So new, and I don't know what to do. Should I stay with my bestie? This goat's getting testy. Won't be lost on my own. I'll always be home.
And there we end on a completely different note, where in the last one she was hovering in the air amongst the sparkles of being a kick-ass muse. Now she's suddenly in this solitary spotlight with a microphone, and the two of them head-to-head. Instead of being in the same place in the frame, they're separated. The vibe, the change in the vibe in this is immense. That's 3 playthroughs of this song. I'm going to do one more in a little bit, but I wanted to talk for a few minutes about what just happened. Because this, to be able to achieve this, like the fact that I never knew that the artwork during that song could go back to the apartment. Makes sense, of course, because when you choose the charming options, you are leaning towards staying with Freddy. And therefore, you're grounding yourself a bit more in reality, like I said. Even though you are now a god, you're opting to stick with your mortal friend, and therefore you're putting yourself back into where you were rather than progressing and going somewhere else with Pan. So it makes total sense. I just didn't know it was even a possibility. That's a whole swathe of artwork that when I played through this game the first time, I didn't see. Now this game, it lasts, I believe, about 8 hours. And it's designed to encourage multiple playthroughs with multiple different outcomes. You can change how people feel about you. You can change, I think, at one point you get the option as to whether or not a character dies. I'm not 100% sure. I'm 98% sure, though, that you can save at least one character during this who I have personally seen die in my current playthrough. The range... I believe Austin said that for every 3-minute song in this game, 45 minutes of music were recorded. And when you listen to that, you can understand it. The number of different ways that can play out. The subtle changes in instrumentation. The fact that this might be the aggressive route that has charming songs in it versus just the full-out aggressive route that has no charming in it. You're making similar choices, but the music is completely different because it is organically being created based upon the music you have heard already. And that is what makes it so successful. Because if I went from charming option to aggressive option, and it went from this kind of slick, dive bar jazz that we've got going on here, and suddenly turned into a metal band playing a different piece of music we'd never heard before, the flow would be gone and it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't sit together like a cohesive whole. But because it says, okay, what music have you heard? You've heard this, this, and this. All right, we're going to take these lyrics but attach them to a different song. Or we're going to take this instrumentation and put it under different lyrics. It manages to make everything feel like it is sticking together, even though it has no right to. I can't... it's just crazy to me what has been achieved in this. It is unbelievable, because it is so broad. The breadth of this game... 8 hours is actually, in and of itself, a fairly long game. They've also got a ton of dialogue to write, and that's also going to be borne out by some of the choices. Because if you make such and such a choice, such and such a character dies, now you can't interact with them anymore. But what if you save them? What if there is a means of saving them? Well, now you can interact with them later in the game, and there's a whole different set of dialogue that has to be recorded. That, in games, is not particularly uncommon. It's one of the things that makes contemporary gaming a very unique field, because it is basically choose your own adventure, but done through skill and actions a lot of the time, or in this case through conversation. And that gives you a lot to work with. The fact that they have managed to achieve this with music. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine back in, I don't know, it must have been around 2008. And we were talking about the idea of video game music that could shift from, say, the overworld music, where you're just walking around a map, into battle music at any point in the song. So it would just, whatever bar you were in, whatever beat you were on in that bar, when the battle started, it would start a transition that would just flow into it, and the music would essentially never stop. Things close to that have happened. The idea of doing this never even crossed our wildest dreams, because it's crazy. I think I can just say that. What has gone into making this happen is completely bananas. And yet it has worked so very well. Like I said, I haven't finished the game on my first playthrough, so I'm not reviewing it here, but I am saying that the experience of going into this and being able to change a musical on the fly works. I have a couple of issues. The sound balancing in the game isn't amazing. The dialogue tends to be a lot louder than the music in some parts, things like that. Small issues. None of this matters. The storyline is amazing, and the storyline comes out of so many of these musical choices. The concept of what they've done with this is beyond anything I could have imagined, and at the same time, one of the pinnacles of my wildest dreams. The idea of having an interactive musical. I've seen things before. I saw an incredible show at the Edinburgh Fringe years ago, which was put on by the Royal Scottish Academy, who they put on 2 or 3 shows every year, and this one was a choose your own adventure musical. And basically the way it worked was there was a beginning, there was an end, and in the middle there were about 25 different units that could theoretically happen. I don't know what the actual number was. And based on certain interactions, it would pick which of 2 paths would be gone down, and then that other scene could happen. So theoretically there could be an actor who is never seen all night, because their scenes just don't get picked. And it took place, there was an arm wrestling match between a member of the audience and a member of the cast, and who won determined which way it went. And this was genius, and I love this kind of thinking, when you walked into the theatre, you could turn left or right to go into the theatre, and they counted the number of people that went each way, and whichever side had more, that made a decision later in the musical. This kind of stuff has happened. But this degree of it, to where you can change the music, the lyrics, the melody, the harmony, the rhythm, the intonation, the post-processing even, of things like the vocal quality can change. All of those things changing in the middle of a song. And you can hear there's a bar or so there where the drums do a fill to shift something or things like that. But it's perfectly believable that what I have just played in my one single playthrough is a complete song written to be that way. I don't know how many possible iterations there are for each of these songs, but it's a lot. Some of them will be smaller changes. If I do an entirely aggressive playthrough and I make one clever choice towards the end, it's probably not going to impact the whole song the same way as if I made every choice differently, it would be very scattered and all over the place. Or if I made the aggressive choice at just the right time to trigger one of those kind of parent triggers, and then I make a bunch of clever choices, but they all have an aggressive undertone because of that original parent trigger. That will make a bigger change. But some of them are astronomically different. Even just having 3 versions of a song, a charming one, an aggressive one, and a clever one, is immense. And they've actually released, often on Steam when you buy a game, you can also buy the soundtrack to that game. They have released 4 soundtracks. There is a clever soundtrack, there is an aggressive soundtrack, there is a charming soundtrack, and I believe I haven't looked into them, but I believe that's where you go through all the songs, making only those choices. And then there's I can't remember what they called it, the Pantheon soundtrack or something like that, which is a mixture. And the choices vary between them. So you can there are 4 entirely different soundtracks to this musical that you can buy. That's staggering. I'm so impressed by everything that has gone into this, because what it actually I'm just resetting the game here. Just turn that sound off for a minute. What it is actually achieving is groundbreaking, I think. And I'm fascinated. I hope you folks are as interested in this as I am, or at least as intrigued and impressed. Because this is truly, truly astonishing. I'm going to go through again. I want to do an aggressive playthrough of this song, and I might make a couple of other choices. But let's hear what the other major option sounds like. So I'm going to bring everything back up again, and let's go one more time. Let's see what we recognize from previous playthroughs.
Grace, you know that you're lost now.
The power, incidentally, is that she can force people to sort of reveal their emotions and things like that. She can't make them do anything.
I'm the guy who can.
But they don't necessarily have control while this is happening.
All that you hear is at your command.
Wait.
No, it's okay, Freddy. This is all me? What do I do?
Start singing.
Okay, so we're going to be aggressive.
Why not? Time's a wasting.
Not about to just trust you.
So again, same melody, same animation,
I don't know what I must
very
do,
different
but here's
instrumentation.
what you can do.
This distorted
Get out
bass.
of my face. I'm doing it right now.
Oh, even there, the post-processing.
I don't follow. Are those really actual horns? And this singing is so hard to swallow. Can you hear me, Grace? What's going on? So sorry you had to be here.
So this we heard before.
I'm in the dark too as you're hearing this. Like I know that I'm in full control. Cause the words and the tunes I feel here in my soul. If this is a power, I'm not overthinking it. If this was a drink, I'd be drinking it. But someone is dead and I'm losing my head. Like the goat said, this is my time, time to shine. This is my time.
The lyrics are also so well written. They genuinely do flow well together.
Grace, nothing makes sense here. And won't the carpet be covered in fleece? And you said someone died here. Shouldn't we then just call the police? Can we all loosen up now? Remember, this madness is happening to me. This music makes sense to me.
So this is interesting. She's getting a little more selfish almost.
Is not what I need.
Understandable, given the circumstances.
Is that gonna be here all the time?
How dare you? You don't know.
Let's be charming here. I don't think
To
I've...
be. Pass me some wine.
Grace, is this how you let strangers speak to me? Freddy looks out for me, always been my friend. You're a bipedal something. What are you again?
I'm the guy who can help you along.
I'm the girl.
So here's the charming harp,
Cause it's my time, time to shine.
but intertwined with the electric guitars of being
This is
kick-ass.
my time, time to shine.
Well, go on then.
Let's have everyone sing together this time, just because
I
it's
can
different.
do whatever I want.
Well, you can't stop time.
Ha!
Grace, I'm frightened. It's okay. I think I got this. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
I never knew I had that in me.
Who's making this happen? This isn't a game.
You don't understand.
This is all gotten
Let's try
out
Big
of
Charming
hand.
one more time.
Nothing for Grace will ever be the same.
Freddy's amazing. She's the one I trust. And you're
Now they're
treating
both
me
floating.
Like I just got off the bus. If I'm ever needed, she knows I'm there.
I can't work with this.
Do I need you? It's my time. Time to
And interesting, because Freddy's singing our time, she's singing my time, so there's a difference there of their outlooks.
shine.
So there again, we have a completely different song. This is just incredible, isn't it? I'm blown away by this game. I think this is achieving something I have never heard done in music, in video games, in anything. I'm just I'm not often pulled so strongly to make a video about something. The reaction channel is one thing, and obviously I started that because I wanted to, but the fact that I do music videos, mostly, and this game just went, make a video about me, and kind of shook me into doing it. Like, I was so heavily drawn to what has been achieved here, because it is just so extraordinary. And I heartily recommend that you go and check this out if you have even a passing interest, because I think you'll be truly fascinated by what you come across. I'm not going to say much more about this because I think I've kind of said everything that I need to in the scope of what I was trying to achieve with this video. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please post in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. And if you've had some experience with the game, let me know how you found it. I'm fascinated to know. This is the collision of my two biggest nerddoms, really, which is music and video gaming. And I guess musical theatre, in a way, and mythology, actually. And in a strange kind of way, superheroes. If you smash all of those things together, you kind of get a perfect whole for me, and that's what's happened here. But I'm interested to know what everybody else's experiences have been as well. And once again, kudos to everybody involved in this game. I mentioned maybe 10% of the names, and that's not even taking into account there's an entire orchestra. There's so many people here. Please do have a look at, I don't know, even just check out IMDb and look at the people who have poured their souls into this game, because they are there, bare on the screen for us to see. And I think it is worth every single penny of the blood, sweat, and tears that they will have spent to actually make this thing happen. And I really hope that everyone involved is truly proud of their work, because it is quite remarkable. Quite remarkable. That is going to be it from me for this special video. Thank you to the 2,000 plus subscribers who follow me and what I do. I am so grateful to all of you. It means an enormous amount to have you all here, and here's to many more videos and many more subscribers moving forwards. Thank you for watching this. Please do like this video, do subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, hit that notification bell to be notified when I release videos, and if you would care to, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/DavidKReacts, where you can donate to support the channel, and I would be very grateful for your help. Of course, there is no pressure to do so. That's it from me for this special video. We'll be back to our regular program streaming on Friday at 5 PM EST. I'm not 100% sure whether this video is coming out the week I'm recording it or the week after, so I don't know what video is going to be next, but it'll be fun. That much I'm pretty sure of. Thank you for watching this with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.